So the way I think about demons is just take all the positive attributes of angels and reverse them. But they still retain the same nature as angels. So if angels are powerful, so are demons. If angels are intellectual, so are them. If angels know who Jesus is, they know it. The only difference is that the positive attributes of angels have now been perverted in demons. So what do we know about demons from the Bible? First of all, we know they're very intelligent. Because why? Angels are intelligent. There are angels who are fallen. So they are very smart. How do we know this? Look at Mark chapter 1, verse 24 and verse 34. When they see Jesus, person who's demon-possessed, it says, What have you to do with us, Jesus of Nazareth? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God. And he healed many who were sick with various diseases and cast out many demons. And he will not permit the demons to speak because they knew him. Demons are intelligent. They know who Jesus is. In fact, they saw Jesus with better theology than the Pharisees did and the crowds did. At this point, the crowds did not see Jesus as the Messiah. Some of them thought maybe he's the son of David. The Pharisees definitely did not think that. But the demons were the only ones with the correct theology throughout the Gospels for a big part of the Gospels. Even his disciples didn't understand who Jesus really was. But the demons do. How do you know? How do they know? Because they were there from the beginning. They saw who's the one that cast Satan down and the demon. That was Jesus. Because Jesus is the one that does God's judgment on behalf of the Father. Do you guys know that? The Father doesn't judge. The Father uses the Son to judge all things. So on the day of judgment, you're not standing in front of the Father. Who are you standing in front of? Jesus. He's the executor of God's justice. That's why the scary description of Revelation of the man on the white horse that kills his enemies and the blood soaks up. Who's that? That's not the description of the Father. That's the description of Jesus. That's why the demons are afraid of Jesus, because they've seen his power. So there's intelligence there. Let's continue on. They're very emotional beings, right? They're not this stoic, non-expressive beings. You see this, especially when there's demon possession. There's this emotions that get expressed. For example, Matthew 8, 28 to 29. This is at the Gadarenes. There are two demon-possessed men. They came out of the tombs. It says that it was so fierce that no one could pass that way. Behold, they cried out, What have you to do with us, O Son of God? Have you come here to torment us before the time? Do you notice the theology of the demons here? They know there's coming a time where they're going to get tormented and judged by Jesus. They're saying, it's not now though, right? So apparently they're aware of something we're not, where they know Jesus gives them permission. Hey, you can do whatever you want in this world for this period of time, but there's coming a period where that's ending. Do you notice in the book of Job, Satan has to ask permission before he can torment? They submit to God, Jesus. Jesus is the one that allows them to do what they do, or he could forbid them to do what they do. That's how much power Jesus has. And so here, the emotions come out where they're angry and crying out. It's like, no, not yet. It's not the time for us to get tormented. We know who you are. You're the Holy One of God, right? Look at all this language. That's why James says in James 2:19, you believe that God is one, you do well. He's being sarcastic here. Even the demons believe and shudder, right? He's talking to Jewish believers who are saying like, well, I believe in God. I know who God is. And he's like, oh, great, good job for you. Even demons believe that. Because believing and knowing who God is not enough. That's James's point. Because your faith is not alive. It's not producing works. All you have is head knowledge, but demons have head knowledge. Because the Christian faith is not knowing things, it's submitting to Jesus. It's a difference. It's a surrendering to Jesus of your will and desires. It's not just knowing who Jesus is. Demons know who Jesus is. And they also submit to Jesus. But what's the difference? They don't submit what? Voluntarily. You know, it says in Philippians 2, every knee will bow, every tongue will confess. Paul is not exaggerating there. He's saying one day when Jesus returns, every person, including unbelievers, will bow down to Jesus. But why aren't they saved if they submit to Jesus? Because they never did so voluntarily. At some point, the king is going to get his honor. You can either bow voluntarily or he could smash your knees with his iron scepter, which is a language from Psalm. I'm not being graphic here. The iron scepter is going to smash the knees of his enemy. Everyone's going to bow down to Jesus. The question is not, are you going to submit to Jesus or bow down to Jesus? We're all going to do it at some point. The question is, are you going to voluntarily do it now, or are you going to be forced to do it when the king arrives? The demons are forced to submit to Jesus. The angels choose to voluntarily submit to Jesus, especially after seeing all that stuff. Like, okay, I don't want to, be a part of that judgment. I'm going to start listening to this guy. Even though this woman looked beautiful, no more touching women, right? And they're like, no more. And they just move on. So that's the idea of salvation. Salvation is not just knowing things and believing things. It's a willful, voluntarily, joyful submission to the king. I mean, because the king is, if you think about a powerful empire king, he's going to beat you. But the question is, are you going to surrender on your, voluntarily, or are you going to be forced to surrender? That's what the question of Christian faith. All right, let's continue on. They're spirits. Again, they're not humans or human-like with bodies. They are spirits. Although we're going to see they can possess human bodies. But at the end of the day, they're spiritual beings. Ephesians 6:12 says, "For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, authorities, cosmic powers, spiritual forces." And now obviously demons are evil. So the way I think about demons is just take all the positive attributes of angels and reverse them. But they still retain the same nature as angels. So if angels are powerful, so are demons. If angels are intellectual, so are them. If angels know who Jesus is, they know it. The only difference is that the positive attributes of angels have now been perverted in demons. Because good and evil is really, the way one theologian said it, it's not opposite. Good and evil is taking the good and perverting it. That's what evil is. It's taking something good like marriage and sex and perverting it. You start having sex with angels and women, right? It's taking something good like culture and food and perverting it. It's taking something good like stewardship and money and then you pervert it. That's evil. It's not like this. They're opposites of one another. It's not necessarily opposite. It's taking the good things God created, because everything God created was good according to Genesis 1, and perverting it for your selfish desires or whatever it is. That's what evil is.